The sunshine, smiles and clear blue skies can mean only one thing. It's Melbourne, round one of the 2007 Formula One World Championship. Two times world champion Fernando Alonso is committed to carry on his winning ways with new team McLaren. GP2 title holder Lewis Hamilton hopes to be his biggest challenge yet. Whether he will be content to play second fiddle waits to be seen. F1's nearly man Giancarlo Fisichella hopes to shine and lead Renault in the post-Alonso era. But he'll first have to beat rookie teammate and former Renault test driver Heikki Kovalainen. Felipe Massa learnt a lot as Michael Schumacher's teammate. Can he take it to the next level? Kimi Raikkonen wants to drive fast, no question. Will his no-nonsense attitude put him in pole position for the title with Ferrari? One victory is not enough for Jenson Button, but has he got the car for success this year? Rubens Barrichello's first year at Honda proved to be a struggle, but he remains positive on what the new season can offer. BMW Sauber's first podium came courtesy of Nick Heidfeld. He hopes to make it a regular occurrence this year. Robert Kubica had a dazzling debut as Villeneuve's replacement at the end of 2006. Can he live up to his reputation? 2007 could be Ralf Schumacher's last chance to prove himself at Toyota. Jarno Trulli signed up for the long term. Can the team use their budget and finally produce the goods? He might be labelled F1's elder statesman, but David Coulthard's Monaco podium proved he still has what it takes. Webber had a difficult time at Williams, but hopes for bigger things at Red Bull with Adrian Newey on board. Nico Rosberg needs better reliability from Williams if he's to show his potential. Alex Wurz hopes that 6 years in the testing wilderness will pay off on his return to full-time racing. Toro Rosso were in no rush to confirm their drivers. Tonio Liuzzi has the swagger, but has he got what it takes? Scott Speed will be under huge pressure to live up to his name. Literally. Adrian Sutil is a highly regarded addition to the team formerly known as Midland. Proving his F1 credentials will be crucial to Christian Albers if he's to remain in the sport. Sato showed a new maturity on his return to F1 with Super Aguri. This year he has a point to make. His former F3 teammate Anthony Davidson finally gets a race seat after 6 years of testing. All eyes are on the 22 drivers who will make 2007 one of the most unpredictable seasons yet. The first qualifying session of the year does not go to plan for Felipe Massa, as his gearbox lets him down. He will start 22nd in last place. Lewis Hamilton will make his Formula One debut from an excellent 4th on the grid. It was Kimi Raikkonen who went straight to pole position on his maiden outing for Ferrari, while Alonso kicks off his McLaren career on the front row next to him. But the biggest celebrations were at Super Aguri. They kicked up the biggest surprise by lining up a fantastic 10th and 11th for the race.
Hello, I am Takuma Sato. This is a lap of the qualify in Australia Grand Prix. This is a lap of qualifying 3 in the Australia Grand Prix, and this was a very, very special day for us Super Aguri. The first time break into the Q2 and Q3. Into the turn 1, it's strange to see it because obviously we are following the somebody, because it's Q3. It's more or less like a racing rather than qualify in the first part of the session. But this is for us, it's a very new experience, and going to these little corners, you actually crossing gap to the front of cars. Difficult to get because of understeer is following somebody. This right-hand corner, high speed, is a quite little commitment corner, and I really like it. Braking to here is a little bumpy, against a little understeer here. but it actually has got a good balance of the car. It's nice and stable. You don't really communicate with the radio, over the radio team at the moment, because you're concentrating on the qualify. But knowing that heavy fuel on board with quite old tire, knowing that getting new tires, you need to feel the car more. And this high-speed section, again, it's nice corners down to the fifth gear and putting 3.5 to 4 Gs. And again, the car's quite stable. I'm happy with the balance. And unfortunately, this wasn't really quickest lap for me, because the Q2 you need new tire with low fuel. This isn't, but still I was very happy with. And again, this long right-hand corner, broke into the very last section. And again, I think we are queuing up to the 3-4 cars. It's a bit like racing, but I was very happy. And we finishing the lap with a very special day for us. We knew we were going to be stronger than last year, wanted to be competitive, as we wanted. But to be honest, never expect to go straight into top 10. And of course, it was with a little bit luck. Some other team has got problem. That's why we're going to the top 10. But even so, we were there with a pace, and I was certainly very happy with the team and very proud of it.
The party atmosphere of the season opener attracts as much attention as ever. Even some well-known faces drop by to provide some glamour and to experience the action. But the attention quickly diverts to the cars lining up on the grid to fire up the 2007 Formula One World Championship. Ferrari and McLaren hope to take on reigning champions Renault. Hamilton makes a reasonable start, but he's quickly overwhelmed by Kubica. Robert is on the defensive, so Lewis changes tack. A quick dart to the left gives him the jump on Robert and McLaren teammate Fernando Alonso. Raikkonen leads Heidfeld, Hamilton and Alonso, but Fernando won't want to let the new boy take the glory. Excellent qualifying helps Sato challenge Trulli's 9th place. But teammate Anthony Davidson's start line setback leaves him on a collision course with Adrian Sutil's Spiker. It's a poor start for the Dutch team. A momentary lapse of concentration leaves Christian Albers in the gravel and out of the race. BMW Sauber expected a safety car at the start and Heidfeld pits early, but his risky strategy hasn't quite played out as planned. And things aren't working out too well at Honda. Barrichello is losing time thanks to teammate Jenson Button. He eventually gets past, but he's got ground to make up in the battle for 13th. And a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane won't help Button's cause. Now Massa pushes Jenson further down the order. It's not the start that Nick Fry was looking for. Hamilton is third, but Alonso's keeping a watchful eye on his teammate. Can he get the jump in the pit stops? Alonso has stopped. Now Hamilton is in. His first Formula One pit stop looks good. The shorter stop ensures he retains the advantage over Fernando. For now, at least. But Scott's speed is in trouble.
I had a tire failure. Tire went flat. Tire failure off the track.
While a gearbox issue leaves Kubica parking up in the garage. Ferrari started with one car at the back and one at the front. Now Raikkonen laps Massa. The team had hoped for a 1-2 finish. Kovalainen definitely needs to keep his eye on the track. While Sato will be glad to pull away from Wirtz and Coulthard when an over-ambitious move from DC nearly ends in disaster. Coulthard's car was just centimetres from Wirtz's head. Felipe Massa has done a great job. He started 22nd, now he's chasing Fisichella for 5th. But time is running out. It's Kimi Räikkönen who wins the first race of the season, with Fernando Alonso 7 seconds behind. And Lewis Hamilton puts in the best performance from a rookie driver since 1996.
Great job, Kimi, great job. Perfect race. We said yesterday was a perfect start to the season, and this is the perfect next step. Fantastic job. Well done.
Alonso is thrilled to finish second on his debut for McLaren, but the maximum points go to former McLaren driver Kimi Räikkönen on his first outing for Ferrari.
No, it's the best possible start, but it's a long season, many races to go, so okay, couldn't start any better. The team worked very well and we had a good race. Not the ideal weekend for the team. With the Felipe had a problem yesterday, but I think so it's a good place to start, and we just need to keep working hard and push hard and try to win more races.
After we saw in winter testing, it's a nice surprise that we were not so far out, and I think there are more new pieces coming to the car, and we keep learning about the Bristol tires, drivers. So at least myself, we will improve how to drive these tires. So I hope soon we will fight with them.
But what happened at the start?
You know, it was a very strange start. I saw Nick Heidfeld coming alongside, so I was concentrating on Nick fight, and probably I forgot the reference braking point, so I braked too early, and Luis overtook me very easy.
Overtaking the reigning champion at the first attempt. Good going.
I'm extremely happy. I hope my family back at home, I know they're all sitting there and stayed up to watch it. I hope you're all well, and look forward to seeing you. But I'm overwhelmed and ecstatic, and you know, really to come across the line in third. It's a great start for me, great start for the team. You know, we've got some good points in the bag, and I'm looking forward to the next race.
Räikkönen may have had the upper hand in Melbourne, but the two McLaren drivers will be hot on his heels in Malaysia. The searing heat of Sepang will provide the ultimate challenge for the drivers and their cars. Massa's poor start makes it easy for Alonso. Räikkönen gets a look, but it's Hamilton that takes the position, and Massa's too. The BMW Saubers get too close for comfort. Räikkönen is fourth and struggling to keep up with the leaders. A suspension problem for Sutil catches Button off guard, leaving the spiker in the gravel. Kovalainen overtakes Webber for 10th. Davidson makes a move on speed, but Liuzzi runs into the rear of his teammate. Now Sato puts a move on Liuzzi. But the Toro Rosso is headed to the pits for a new nose cone. Massa looks to make amends. He's got the speed. But he needs to keep it on track and instead has to fend off his teammate. Massa gets round Hamilton, but compromises his race with a trip into the gravel. That leaves Räikkönen chasing the McLaren. He piles on the pressure, but Hamilton retains his composure. Things aren't so relaxed at Honda, as Barrichello steals a lowly 17th place from Button, despite starting in the pits. Wirtz lost out in qualifying, now he makes light work of speed for 14th. But it's a fiery end for Albers. Both Spiker cars are out after only a few laps. Robert Kubica collided with Heidfeld at the start and damaged his aerodynamics. And who knows what's going on with this pit stop? Back on track, Wirtz is hounding David Coulthard. But unlike Melbourne, both cars survived the experience. Massa has put himself out of contention, so it's down to Raikkonen to salvage something for Ferrari. This battle has helped Alonso build up a good lead before his first pit stop. But will he know when to come in? He's lost radio contact. The communication problems don't seem to have troubled the leader. He's in for his first stop with a sizable advantage, even if they do have to resort to sign language. But David Coulthard has more to worry about.
Okay, brake pedal starting steering column. Brake pedal and steering column. Okay, I'm not comfortable, guys. I think we should retire the car. Understood.
Things aren't going well for Red Bull's sister team either. Scott Speed is struggling.
My braking foot feels like it's on fire. So hot.
Heidfeld escaped damage from his inter-team squabble and is currently running fourth. There are no delays for him. He rejoins and holds on to fourth ahead of Massa. Rosberg has never scored points in Malaysia. And a progressive loss of water pressure ensures he fails to this year. Kubica's disastrous day continues. He gets a grip on the situation, but now he's only 18th. Fernando's race wasn't an easy one, but you couldn't have guessed. The two-times world champion takes his first win of the season and his first as a McLaren Mercedes driver. And he gets some well-deserved praise from boss Ron Dennis.
Great job, Fernando. I'm so pleased for you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. It's been a tough weekend for everybody.
Lewis was P2, so he took a few valuable points from yours truly.
Fantastic, fantastic. You deserve it, guys. Fantastic.
After a winless 2006, McLaren returned to form, and Alonso now leads the Drivers' Championship. It's McLaren's 41st 1-2 finish. Wirtz just missed out on points. Trulli gets off the mark while Kovalainen scores his first F1 point. But did Lewis expect a second-place finish at only his second Grand Prix?
I've had a strong belief in myself for many years, and I know, as long as you work hard, anything is possible. And as you see today, second place, it's a great finish. I think we're going to keep pushing harder and harder, and eventually the win will come.
Fernando, how much were you thinking before the start, I ain't going to go backwards again as I did in Melbourne?
Yeah, a little bit. I think, the start was difficult, and I realized that our start was good, seeing Felipe side by side. And after that, for sure, you keep expecting the Ferrari to come back. You still look in the mirror when the Ferrari will come to you and overtake you. But it never happened this race, so that was the fantastic news.
But not so fantastic for the Scuderia. It was a disappointing result considering their pace over the weekend. Hamilton and Alonso were just better on the day. Round 3 at the Sakir circuit in Bahrain, Massa secures another pole position. Hamilton lines up next to him with Kimi Räikkönen 3rd and Alonso 4th. Nick Heidfeld qualified 5th.
Hi, I'm Nick Heidfeld, and this is my qualifying lap here in Bahrain. So that's over start and finish, shifting up to 7th gear, quite a long straight. You can see that I was on the soft tires due to the white stripes. Under braking you might see that it's a bit bumpy, the car's moving a bit there. Important here to keep a tight line close to the curb like there, and then not going to the left completely in order to have a good exit for the chicane there, because now we have a long full flat section again. Another important braking here. Here actually you can use quite a lot of the exit curb. There you can see I'm coming from the outside. Here it was changing quite a bit depending on conditions, but it's one of the nicest parts of the circuit. Car looked quite stable through there. Here you have to take a bit of a strange line. Here you go quite far to the exit. Normally the apex would be a bit earlier, but it's just a strange corner there. That's a very difficult part because you have a quick left-hander in which you have to start braking down while turning, and then a very tight apex onto the back straight. Braking here changing a lot with the wind, down to 3rd gear. Yeah, need to use a lot of the exits, and nowadays with V10 you kept a bit more to the inside. That right-hander is flat, at least with good tires, with good rubber. Here, could have used slightly more curb there on the exit, but I think it was still not a bad lap. Then into the last corner, down into 2nd gear, the front inside wheel a bit up in the air, and then back again onto the start and finish line.
It's not quite as hot as Malaysia, but the temperature is still high. Massa keeps pole, but there's plenty of squabbling behind. Alonso tries to grab 3rd, but Räikkönen ensures he stays ahead. While at the back, Jenson Button makes the most of the runoff areas. Alonso finds a way past Kimi, and Heidfeld is waiting in the wings. Button gets in a spin and stalls, while Sutil and Speed get in a tangle. The race is over for these two. And it's 3 races and 3 first lap incidents for Sutil. Hamilton is chasing Massa's 1st place. Both are pushing hard. The Williams cars made poor starts. Now they're piling the pressure on Trulli's Toyota. Rosberg had an excellent Bahrain debut last year, but he's been struggling with his brakes all weekend. And battles to keep on the track. With pit stops taking place, Nico's after Kovalainen. They both run wide. And it's Rosberg that seizes the initiative. Now the top runners take to the pits. Massa and Hamilton have stopped. Alonso is in. Will it be enough to hang on to 3rd? Räikkönen and Heidfeld head to the pits at the same time. Räikkönen gets back out. Now Heidfeld rejoins. Massa and Hamilton are well clear. There's Alonso, but Raikkonen eases his way into third, leaving Fernando in Heidfeld's clutches. Coulthard's had a storming race. He started 21st, and now he slices past Trulli for 13th.
David, you are faster than Mark. You are faster than Mark.
His charge continues this time at the expense of teammate Mark Webber's 9th place.
Go after Fizzy, go after Fizzy.
DC's aggressive race strategy is working fantastically well and could see him score some points. Heidfeld is right on Alonso's tail. He's waiting for any opportunity. It's wheel-to-wheel action. And third place belongs to the BMW. But Sato's afternoon ends in plumes of smoke. At least he won't have far to walk. Unbelievable. Coulthard's sterling effort is wasted when his drive shaft forces him out of the race. Davidson had run as high as 6th through the pit stops, but he joins his teammate on the sidelines thanks to an engine failure. It's the team's first double retirement since Turkey 2006. Things are much brighter for Ferrari. Massa beats Hamilton to the flag with a 2-second margin. He's managed to put right the wrongs of Malaysia to win for the second time in Bahrain.
Race win, 10 points. Hardest race as well. Good boy. I'm very, very proud of you. Nice one.
Massa's third win for the team means it's 2 out of 3 for Ferrari. McLaren might be leading for now, but Ferrari have made their championship aspirations clear. It was a straightforward win for Massa. Heidfeld held off Alonso to remain 4th. Despite being hindered by an open fuel flap, Kubica gets his first points of the season.
The first stint was quite difficult because Lewis was very close, but then the second stint was fantastic. I just pulling a very nice gap, and then it was much more easy to control the race.
3 drivers are now tied at the top. Heidfeld is not far off Massa. Trulli has outperformed his teammate, and there are 10 drivers yet to score. Ferrari have moved closer to McLaren, while BMW show they really are a threat to the 2 top teams. Reigning champions Renault have had a slow start to the season, while Toyota and Williams haven't made the big jump they'd hoped for. The European season kicks off in Spain at the Circuit de Catalunya near Barcelona. There's been a major change to the final corner in 2007 in a bid to increase safety and overtaking opportunities. All eyes may be on Alonso, but he shows no sign of pressure as he lines up second on the grid. Even Ron Dennis looks relaxed and happy. But there will be an extra formation lap. Jarno Trulli has stalled. He won't be able to maximise his 6th place on the grid.
Jarno, we have a problem on the fuel pressure. You have to keep the revs high. If the car starts, we have to keep the revs high.
Fortunately, the delayed start causes no more dramas. Massa gets away perfectly. But Alonso uses the slipstream to good effect. Going into turn 1, has Alonso done it? There's contact, and Alonso takes to the gravel. Narrowly missing Hamilton and Raikkonen, and he's going to have to watch Kubica behind. Vert started way back in 18th and has his work cut out ahead. But going round Ralph would have been better than running into him. It's a rather spectacular end to his brief race. Alonso is 4th and desperate to regain position. He has a good look at Raikkonen. But Kimi puts up a fight. Ron Dennis doesn't look quite so relaxed now. Alonso has dropped back from the Ferrari, and there's two BMW Saubers on the prowl. Jarno Trulli's day gets worse.
We know, Jarno, we know. It's a fuel pressure problem. Try to keep going.
Ron Dennis is willing his drivers on. Alonso is fourth. But when Kimi appears to struggle, the McLaren is perfectly poised to seize third place. Kimi is in real trouble and is forced into the pit lane. No advice from Michael Schumacher can help now. Scott Speed has climbed from the back of the field, but he has been slowly losing tyre pressure. And now it's gone completely. He could do with those wings now. The Spanish hero is in a podium position, but his fans are looking slightly subdued. With Kimi out of the way, can he catch Hamilton and Massa? The race leader is in. A few drops of fuel almost turn a straightforward pit stop into disaster. McLaren need to keep their cool. Massa's stop looked good, but the fuel rig was slow to come off, and there was a small leak. Things are far more straightforward for 8th placed Fisichella. Before the stops, he was chasing Button, and he hasn't got the jump on the Honda. There's the second Honda of Barrichello. The teammates go into combat, but Jensen hits the curb and runs wide into Rubens. He survives, but Button will need to head back to the pits for a new front wing. Nick Heidfeld is the last of the top runners to pit. It looks okay. Or does it? There was a hitch with the right front wheel nut. Surely that needs to be on the car. Heidfeld decides not and heads back out on track. But he will need to come straight back into the pit lane. Sato, on the other hand, is having a fantastic afternoon.
Keep pushing, Schumacher, keep pushing it. Stay with Renault, stay with Renault.
After his second stop, there's good news for Takuma.
Giancarlo, we need to stop again. We need to stop again. You are going to have to push like anything, mate. Come on.
Schumacher, keep pushing. Fisichella in front. They need to stop again. Keep pushing.
Giancarlo, when we stop, there'll be no tyre change. There'll be no tyre change at the stop.
Renault have suffered fuel rig glitches on both cars, meaning that Fisichella needs to stop for a splash and dash with only 6 laps remaining. He just loses 8th place to Sato. Can Taku keep him at bay to score Super Aguri's first ever point?
Good work, Fatima. Keep pushing. Push as hard as you can. Good job.
It's been a good job as well at Red Bull today, but it's not over yet. David Coulthard has lost 3rd gear. He needs to bring the car home to score Red Bull's first points of the season. Massa never looked like letting go of anything. For the 2nd consecutive race, he takes the checkered flag first.
Well done, man! Well done!
And you, Sunshine, well done. Well done. Pole position, fastest lap, and and the race win. Job done, job done. Take that. Have that. Well done, Sunshine.
Coulthard holds on to 5th. Rosberg gets a career-best finish with 6th. But the biggest cheer goes to Super Aguri, who scored their first points after 22 races in Formula 1. Ferrari may have won 3 out of 4 races, but it's Hamilton's 3rd consecutive second place that elevates him to the top of the drivers' standings. McLaren are the only team to have both drivers score points in every race so far. Can they keep that form on the streets of Monaco? As F1 heads to the Principality of Monaco, one team has a lot to celebrate. Super Aguri scored their first ever points in Spain after making their debut on the grid in Bahrain 2006.
I can't describe only one word. It was just awesome weekend. Considering the situation, we looking back only 22nd race, only 15 months from the day one. We just made it.
Many people call me and many email, and I'm very happy, and also in Taku and all our staff, and it's a very good job in Spain.
Japan has a rich history in Formula 1, but having a Japanese driver is most important for the Japanese fans.
Good morning.
It's very important is driver. A long time ago, Nakajima-san started in Formula 1 permanent driver. Everybody watched Nakajima-san, and now Takuma is a very big hero in Japan.
Cheering the driver is a big thing. So to me, like Satoru Nakajima, when we saw a Japanese driver, to me it was just unbelievable. In '87, we had TV coverage. I was 10 years old. Go to Suzuka very first time and watch the Formula 1. To me, it was just shocking. Of course, I was in Suzuka when Aguri-san was there, got on the podium. Now, Aguri-san is my boss, and I'm so proud to working together in the Formula 1.
Both Sato and Suzuki have had notable career moments at the Suzuka circuit. Is the home event the most important to them?
In my case, the answer was yes, and perhaps for the Aguri-san as well. So. We had fantastic results in Japan, both Aguri-san and I. Perhaps obviously it's a lot of home crowd, push us a little bit more extra power, but we always 100% committed.
It's my Formula 1 career started in Suzuka, and it's best result in Suzuka, last race in Suzuka. My Formula 1 career is everything in Suzuka, I think.
You're back in Japan, and the whole home crowd, in front of driving. And that feeling is just unbelievable. So I absolutely love it.
So maybe we get a good result in Suzuka also. I don't know, Fuji also. I hope so.
Big pressure, sir.
Always.
How difficult is it for young Japanese drivers to get into Formula 1?
It's pretty much Europeanized organization, and physically you have to be in here. Obviously, we're far east in Japan. It's absolutely impossible to get straight into the Formula 1. So Japan certainly has got very competitive mod racing. Go to Formula 3, Formula Nippon, their competition is just unbelievable. It is important for the young Japanese driver to have get taste of European racing before come to the big formula. In my case, I followed popular European routes. So going to the junior formula in Europe, and then go to the Formula 3, the championship, win the championship, then come to the Formula 1. So we need young drivers come to the Europe, do the racing. I think that's what it is.
And what does the future hold for F1's youngest team?
I'm really proud of this game. Hopefully, we can do the fantastic job over the next few years and then become, I don't know, somewhere.
Yeah, this is my job. Yeah, but I'm sure it's still we are smallest team in Formula 1, but it's like a family. It's a very one piece. Everybody want to get good result, and everybody have a good target. Maybe in your future he get more good result with our team. Yes, I hope so.
Let's do it.
Lewis Hamilton learnt the hard way that mistakes in Monaco can cost you dearly. But fortunately for him, it was only in Saturday's practice. it was more costly for Kimi, as he made his mistake in Q2. He clipped the barrier with his right front wheel coming out of the swimming pool chicane and had to park up in a space some might say is reserved for Ferrari. Massa managed P3, but it was Fernando Alonso who kept out of trouble to take his first pole position for McLaren.
Hello, it's Fernando Alonso from Vodafone McLaren Mercedes team. We will see now the lap from Monaco, my pole position. This is the main straight. We go up to 7th gear, around 280 kilometers an hour at the end of the straight. Very heavy braking, 10-1 in 2nd gear, around 80 kilometers an hour. Then we go uphill till the casino corners. This first left corner, very quick, 4th gear. And then the right one. We go downhill now, very heavy braking into 1st gear for the very slow part of the circuit. This is low corner, around 40 kilometers an hour, the slowest corner of the championship. Again, all this part is in 1st gear, very slow corners. The entry of the tunnel, very important one for the time lap. Then we go into the tunnel, 6th gear, around 290 kilometers an hour at the end of the tunnel. Very slow chicane, you use as much curb as you can. Then we go to the swimming pool part. This is Tabac corner, 4th gear, very quick. And then very quick high speed chicane, all over the curves and try to gain the time lap. Then the last two corners, Rush Cars, 1st gear again, around 45 kilometers an hour. And the last, the pit and straight, using as much curb as you can and try to let the car go to the final corner. So quite an intense lap and very important pole position of the year.
Fernando Alonso won from pole here last year. Can he repeat that success with McLaren? A quick look left, then right, and he knows he's safe. Heidfeld gets past Webber and is lucky to escape without damage after contact with Rosberg. Everyone else survives the bottleneck. Alonso leads Hamilton, Massa, Fisichella, while Heidfeld is still under pressure from Rosberg. Raikkonen hasn't made up much ground in 12th, and he needs to keep his focus on the cars behind. Liuzzi is giving him cause for concern. At the front, the McLarens are pulling away from the field. But two-stopping Alonso looks to have it all under control. Unfortunately, control is what Liuzzi's lacking. He's out of the race on the run-up to Casino. Will things ever go right in 2007? Getting through back markers is always tricky, particularly in Monaco. But Trulli is too generous and finds Sato manages to grab 15th from under his nose. Alonso is in. Hamilton leads momentarily until he's called in for his stop earlier than he expected. The change from a one-stop to a two-stop strategy all but writes off his chances of leapfrogging the leader. Will he settle for second place? Or will he take the challenge to his teammate? Coulthard won't repeat last year's podium.
Okay, I think I'm losing parts of the front wing. Have another good look at the swimming pool.
Understood. We'll have a look. Understood. We'll have a look.
His start line collision with Liuzzi has left him battling understeer. Coulthard pits, but the team choose not to change his front wing. Now the lollipop falls apart and the mechanic has to kick it out of the way. Alonso leads and Hamilton is not giving up. Gordon Ramsay keeps a close eye on proceedings. But as they take to La Rascasse for the final time, it's Alonso who leads the field and takes the win in Monaco. It's McLaren's second 1-2 of the season, but the victory is clearly far more important to Alonso. They tie for points, but with 2 race wins, it's Alonso that leads the Drivers' Championship. Their nearest rival was over 1 minute behind. The top 4 finished in the order they started. Only the top 3 cars were on the same lap. 8th was the best Raikkonen could hope for. Wirtz scores for the first time this season. How much did strategy play a part in today's race?
If you're on a 2-stop strategy at Monte Carlo, a safety car will immediately pass the race to a 1-stop strategy. So we had Lewis filled for that capability, which obviously made his front row position just fantastic. No safety car then played heavily into Fernando's hands, and you know, when you're taking these decisions, you have to think for the team, but at the same time, you know, I'm very fond of both drivers, and I'd rather see them fight for success with in a no holds barred. But you can't do that in Monte Carlo. But it's certainly going to happen later in the season.
The battle may have been decided early on, but Alonso kept his cool and his McLaren out of the barriers. Keeping the relationship with his teammate on track might not be so simple.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton, and I'm about to take you through my qualifying lap, my first pole position at Montreal. So here we're just about to start the lap. You've got to make sure you get a perfect exit and make sure you don't make any mistakes with the upshifts, shifting up into gears. Coming into the first corner, you need to make sure you brake as late as possible so you not overshoot. Take a little bit of curb, get in the right position, don't run too late. Try and get plenty of traction out of the turn 2, which then you carry all the way up into turn 3. And here it was just coming off the brakes and trying to use all the curves without sort of having big oversteer moments. Then we flat out down into turn 6, I believe. Again, here it's about turning the car and using all the curve on the inside, making sure you get a good exit without running too wide, otherwise you'll hit the wall. And making sure exits are always important because that's where you can lose most time. Here, braking as late as possible, trying to use a bit of the first curve and then being as straight as possible for the exit. Not too much curve because TC starts kicking in, traction control. Then down into the hairpin, braking very, very late, but trying to keep up the minimum speed, so come off the brake. But again, we have such a long straight at the exit, so it's about the exit, you know, making sure you get good traction. Don't make sure you don't make any mistakes with the upshifts, changing gear, and just trying to keep the steering wheel as straight as possible because the less steering, the better you'll be. And braking very late into the last corner and using all the curves, and it's very, very aggressive, almost spits you into the wall. But there I did make a small mistake, but got, you know, and here I was actually pushing to get a little bit faster, but it didn't really make much difference, but it was a great lap.
Any particular advice for?
No advice. I think, you know, try to don't be too aggressive in the first corner and let me go through.
With the McLarens lining up next to each other, this could be a very interesting race. Raikkonen's getaway is slow from the dirty side of the track, and Massa easily gets round him. Alonso locks up ahead and goes off, while the Ferraris make contact. Now Raikkonen loses 5th to the quick starting Rosberg. Hamilton leads Heidfeld, and it's anyone's game behind him. Jenson Button didn't get off the grid thanks to a gear selection problem. Webber lost out to Rosberg and Kubica at the start. Now he's on a fight back and puts a move on Robert. But his hard work goes to waste. Scott Speed makes a move on Wirtz, but there isn't enough room for two cars, and he is out of the race. Massa is pushing Alonso, but another mistake from Fernando into turn 1 makes Felipe's life much easier. McLaren prepare for a pit stop. Who will come in first? It's Hamilton, right on time. The race leader is the first of the top runners to pit. But Sutil doesn't have a chance to make a pit stop. He runs wide at turn 8 and slams into the wall, bringing out the safety car. Alonso and Rosberg come in for their scheduled stops. The safety car has just been deployed. So is the pit lane actually open yet? All cars on track must form up in a line behind the safety car before the pit lane will be opened. Now the pit lane is open. Massa is in and teammate Raikkonen queues behind. Team advisor Michael Schumacher keeps a close eye on proceedings. But maybe not close enough. The red light is on and both Massa and Fisichella take to the track. Now it's clear to go, but Kubica's caught napping by Jarno Trulli. The Toyota is 14th, followed by Kubica, Raikkonen, Liuzzi and Sato. The safety car has not played into Raikkonen's hands. Kubica has a look at Trulli. Oh, he's got off and Kubica hits the wall. It's a huge accident. And real concern on the BMW Sauber pit wall. Liuzzi was incredibly lucky not to be taken out by the debris. As soon as Robert was airborne, there was nothing he could do. His car is ripped to pieces, and even his feet are clearly visible. Now it's just a waiting game. The medics are soon on the scene and work quickly to extract him from the car safely. Everyone is desperate to know how he is. Within minutes, Kubica has taken away 4 checks. And the work begins to clear the track. While Robert's manager gives an update on his condition.
I talked to him. He's conscious. I would say that my impression is that he's fine. He was giving indication to the doctors upon his general state. Robert is transported now to the General Hospital of Montreal, where they will, of course, deepen all checks.
The racing is back underway, and both Alonso and Rosberg have a 10-second stop-go penalty for pitting too early under the safety car. Super Aguri can't take their eyes off the action. So much so they haven't noticed that Davidson has pitted. A run-in with the local wildlife has damaged his front wing and taken the team unawares. Rosberg is looking to make up ground. But ends up synchronised spinning with Jarno Trulli. Today just isn't going his way. It's going much better for Alonso, who moves up the field at Kovalainen's expense. A mistake ends a good chance of points for Albers. And there's no chance of points for Fisichella and Massa.
In now, please, Giancarlo. In now. You are black flagged, Fizzy. You are black flagged.
His top 8 finish is snatched away. Both drivers were so focused on beating the cars behind that they missed the red light. Game over. The safety car's out for the 3rd time, while debris from Albers' car is cleared. Alonso's been hunting down Kimi Räikkönen. Now they pit at the same time. Side by side. But Alonso has it to rejoin 8th ahead of Kimi. Hamilton still leads on the restart and pulls away from Heidfeld. Liuzzi's not an F1 champion, but he joins many others in the wall of champions. Räikkönen and Alonso chase through the traffic. But once again, Alonso goes wide. What is it about turn 1? The safety car is out for the 4th time. This could have been Toro Rosso's day for points. Trulli exits the pit lane and needs to push to catch the rest of the field. Instead, he drives into the wall. For the remaining cars, the racing gets back underway. Alonso wastes no time disposing of Ralf Schumacher. Hamilton leads Heidfeld, Wirtz, Kovalainen and Räikkönen. Sato stands to score a point, but he knows there's more on offer and quickly snatches 7th from Ralf. And he's not finished. Now he's right up behind Alonso. He makes the most of the long straight to relieve the reigning champion of 6th. It's a massive achievement, but it can't quite surpass that of Lewis Hamilton, who takes his first F1 win at only his 6th Grand Prix. Only 12 cars finished this action-packed race. Heidfeld gets BMW's first podium of the year, while Williams get their first since Europe 2005. Kovalainen finished 4th after starting last.
It has been a fantastic day. I mean, to come here, my first time in Canada, really, it's been a fantastic season already. We've had 6 podiums. And I'm ready. I've been ready for quite some time for the win. It was just a matter of when and where. And the team gave me the best car. I had no problems during the race at all. I have to dedicate this one to my dad. Because without him, this wouldn't be possible.
Family have played a huge role right the way through his career. But the win would not have been possible without this man either. Even with 4 safety car periods, he remained calm and only lost his lead for 3 laps. No one could have predicted that he would take the top step of the podium so quickly in his rookie year. He now has a clear advantage over Alonso and leads the driver's title by 8 points. It's straight on to Indianapolis for the US Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel takes the place of Robert Kubica following his horrific accident in Canada. Incredibly, he only suffered bruising and a sprained ankle, but he was ordered to rest.
Have you seen the accident on TV?
Well, yeah, I have seen it also live when I was there, but also Scott has good position to look at that. I saw some pictures. No, but I saw it because for me, as Jarno came to the hospital, it was also important to understand what's happened and why suddenly I have no control from the car. And apparently it was the front wing when we touched, which went under the car and lift my car up, and I couldn't steer anymore, so that's why I went off.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton, and I'm here now trying to take you through the lap of Indianapolis. It was my second pole position, which I was battling with Fernando Alonso. So here we'll come across the start-finish line, trying to be as smooth as possible and making sure I had to pull away from the wall because supposedly it makes a big difference to the aerodynamics. Here braking at just after the 100-meter sign and trying to come off the brakes and run some speed, and I did make a small mistake, carrying lots of speed into the turn 2, making sure you get a very good exit because where you can lose time. Here's a bit tough, you can brake too late and miss the apex, but I managed to get the car stopped, get a good exit, good traction because they're new tyres. Into this corner, it's quite tricky, you need to come in, you do get a bit of understeer, but then on the power again, not too wide on the exit. And then this corner you have to make sure you get a perfect exit because it's such a long straight, that's where the earlier you get to power, the better. And into this next corner here, I did have a small lock up, but you got to use all the road, as you can see, I'm nearly on the grass. But this last section is a bit strange. You've got very low grip, very low downforce, but the grip is good because of new tyres. But I managed to get a very good exit there. Not to brake too late into this corner, carry the speed in and make sure you get a good exit again because the earlier you get to power, the faster you'll be down the whole straight. So I'm gaining time all the time here. And through this last bank corner, you've got to try to turn as little as possible. So, really, sometimes I nearly hit the wall, but that's because I'm just doing as minimal turning as possible. And as you come through the line, the team come on the radio and say you got pole. So I was extremely happy, and now this time is you have to come off the power and try to save as much fuel for the race. So it was a very good lap, very emotional.
The crowds are ready for some serious F1 action at the historic Motor Speedway. Sebastian Vettel is an impressive P7, but he won't want to run into Kovalainen before the race starts. With both drivers on the front row, only a win will do for McLaren. The leaders are away cleanly, but there's some battling at the back. Davidson tries to make up places from 16th and gets a good view of how to lose them. Ralph locks up and slams into Coulthard and Barrichello, leaving plenty of cars off the track. Hamilton leads and his biggest rival is right up behind him. Massa is third, then it's Heidfeld, Kovalainen and Raikkonen. Let's hope Ralph doesn't get paid per lap. Barrichello got caught up in the first corner melee and drags his wreckage home. Fisichella is 8th, but he loses the rear and finds himself in the gravel. Luckily, he gets back out of it, but he's way down the order. Fisichella's fight back has begun. He's already after Button's 16th place. All the way down the straight. And he's done it. Sato avoided the first corner madness, but needs to make up some time. He isn't as lucky as Fisichella, though. The cars are starting to spread out. The McLarens lead Massa and Heidfeld, then there's quite a gap to the battling Finns of Kovalainen and Raikkonen. Heidfeld makes it easier for them to catch up when he goes off at turn 1. He takes a detour, but as he struggles for a gear, he's easy prey for Heikki and under pressure from Kimi. Heidfeld's slip-up gave Kovalainen some breathing space, but Raikkonen hopes his pit stop can change that. Kovalainen stayed out longer, and he was leading the race before this stop. Can he maintain his lead over compatriot Kimi? Raikkonen disposes of Heidfeld. In fact, he's got the better of both of them. But Heikki isn't going to sit back and accept it. Alonso isn't a man for compromises either. Hamilton's tyres are graining in this second stint, and Alonso is right up behind him. He even tries to force his way through, but Hamilton is not fazed. They won't jeopardise their 1-2 positions. Alonso has pitted, now Hamilton is in. Every second counts. He's not going to give any time to his teammate. Alonso has been pushing hard, but to no avail. Hamilton retains the lead. But it's been a bad day for Heidfeld. He retires from 7th with a hydraulic leak. The race may be in its closing stages, but Raikkonen is chasing Massa for the final podium position. Felipe is on the hard tyres while Kimi is on the softs. Can it make a difference? Webber and Trulli have been scrapping for most of the race. They may only be 7th and 8th, but Mark desperately wants that extra point. He won't get it cutting corners though. He has to let Trulli through, but he'd better watch out for new boy Vettel. Rosberg's one-stop strategy looks set to pay off. He was running 6th, but an oil leak ruins his chances with only a few laps remaining. It's only 1 week since his debut Formula One win, and it just keeps getting better and better for Lewis Hamilton. He's dominated North America with 2 wins in 2 races, with Alonso not far behind. It's another good result for Kovalainen. Webber scores his first points of the year, while Vettel finished his first Grand Prix 8th. McLaren may not employ team orders, but team spirit may be strained after this race.
Ron was very adamant during that race. He let you and Fernando fight fair and square, despite some a request from Fernando, so probably worth giving him a big thank you when you finish.
Seeing 2 top drivers pitted head-to-head at Indianapolis is exactly what the crowds want. Even music producer Pharrell showed up to see Hamilton increase his lead at the top. McLaren's reliability is certainly paying off. Heidfeld is a strong 5th, while Kovalainen leaps ahead of Wirtz and is closing on his teammate Fisichella. In the Constructors, McLaren extend their lead over Ferrari, while Renault close the gap on BMW Sauber. Honda are one of 3 teams yet to score. How important is the support of the fans to the race winner?
It's great to see that there's a big crowd here, and they're all very, very supportive. A lot of British flags out there, which is fantastic for me. I get a lot of energy from that. But the last few laps were, it just seemed to be very long. And they came across the radio and said 15 laps, and I was like, okay. And then 15 laps just seemed a lifetime, especially when you're out in the lead, trying to maintain it, not to push too hard, not to damage the car.
But as Formula One returns to Europe, will McLaren still be the favourites? Manicourt hosts the French Grand Prix after one man's complete domination of North America. Lewis Hamilton arrives in France looking relaxed and happy, having increased his lead to 10 points over Alonso in the drivers' standings. Hamilton maintained his good form and starts from second place on the grid despite some technical issues that brought him to a halt on Friday. And a mistake on Raikkonen's final lap in Q3 cost him a front row start. Kubica is given the all-clear to race again after missing Indianapolis. He casts aside any doubt, starting from fourth on the grid, leaving Felipe Massa to take pole by a fraction from Hamilton. The early morning rain has cleared up, but it's cool and overcast for round number 8. Ferrari need to maximise pole position to keep their championship hopes alive. Both cars get a good start. Kimi even catches Hamilton unawares. But Sutil starts from the pit lane in the T car following an electrical fault. He's already way back. Davidson and Liuzzi collide not once, but twice. Liuzzi is out on the spot while Davidson crawls back to the pits. It's not a pleasing sight for Franz Tost. At the back of the field, Davidson ran into Liuzzi, sending the Toro Rosso out of control. Massa leads Raikkonen. Kubica is hot on the heels of Hamilton, and Fisichella is chased by Kovalainen. But not for long. Trulli slams into the Renault, sending Heikki into a spin. He makes it back on track, but he will need to pit for repairs. Jarno's car is beyond repair. He's damaged the front wing and suspension. The race has barely started, and he's another non-finisher. Alonso's gearbox hitch left him 10th on the grid. Now he's challenging Rosberg for 7th. Nico holds on, but ultimately he has to admit defeat. With Rosberg out of the way, Alonso gets to work on Heidfeld. Fernando sees an opportunity, but it's a risk too far. He'll have to bide his time. Alonso is still in combat with Heidfeld. When Nick makes a mistake, the McLaren seizes the chance and gets Ron's nod of approval. The top 3 are battling their way through traffic. Raikkonen couldn't get the jump on Massa at the first round of stops, but will back markers play into his hands? Third-placed Hamilton is 3 stopping and no threat to the 2 stopping Ferraris. Massa's in. The Ferrari mechanics put in a perfectly choreographed performance, not a foot out of place. Is it enough? Raikkonen has stayed out longer. Once again, the team make no mistakes. Which Ferrari will lead? It's going to be close. There's Massa in the final corner, but Raikkonen has already taken the lead. Can Massa claw it back? A strong middle stint leapfrogs Button up to 8th and on course to score Honda's first point of the season. Ferrari's objective was a 1-2 and they've done it with Kimi leading Felipe over the line. It's a fine way for him to return to the podium. BMW Sauber get their biggest points haul yet, thanks to 4th and 5th. Alonso finished 7th behind former teammate Fisichella. Button managed to hold on to 8th and finally put Honda on the scoreboard. Ferrari's fortune may have changed, but it's Hamilton's 8th podium in as many races. Next, Silverstone. When F1 reached Monaco, the beginnings of a divide were becoming visible between championship leader Lewis Hamilton and reigning world champion Fernando Alonso. Having decided to run two different strategies for the drivers in the race, Hamilton was surprised when McLaren brought him in early for his pit stop.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised because I was fueled to do 5 laps. I was fueled 5, nearly 6 laps longer than Fernando, and they stopped me with 3 laps. So the time where I was able to really bridge out, get a gap or improve my time, I wasn't really given much time to it. I came in at 2 or 3 laps after. So, that's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes.
Relations seemed strained in Canada. Hamilton's lights to flag victory compared to Alonso's below-par performance prompted journalists to speculate about the internal politics at play within the team.
I don't know if you know what Fernando said to Spanish radio. He said that the team is support more you than him because you are British. Do you feel there is all this support from the team? There is this not equal support between the two drivers?
I just think I find it strange he said that because I feel that ever since he joined the team have been extremely motivated to push us both towards winning, and Ron and the other guys in the team have been pushing extremely hard to make sure they're working very hard to make sure we have equal opportunity. And it's probably always going to be difficult in the business, but obviously I've got a great relationship with all the guys in the team because I've been there been with them since I was 13. But at the end of the day, when Fernando came into the team, they were extremely excited, and I feel that they've built a very good relationship with him, so I don't see why he would say that.
Well, what I mean is, I was not totally comfortable with the team, and that's my opinion and my concern with the team, and something that I said to the team, and we'll see what we can do. And but anyway, it's not a complaint. I have a fantastic car in my hands, and I try to win the championship.
When the champion went head-to-head against the rookie at Indianapolis, he found he wasn't just going to get waved through. And he made his feelings very clear to his team on the pit wall.
How is the situation now in your team?
Situation is good, as you said. Only rumors has been in the press, and I think this is impossible to stop. I think I'm second behind my teammates, so all the rumors are into myself now, and will be the opposite if I was first and my teammate was second. Maybe people start talking about him.
The FIA has again got tough on the issue of flexible bodywork in the sport. They have introduced more stringent load-bearing tests for rear wings after Coulthard's rear wing was seen moving up and down under braking and accelerating in Spain. Silverstone hosts the British Grand Prix and sees a radical new look for the Red Bull cars. David Coulthard describes the concepts behind the distinctive one-off livery.
There's a charity called Wings for Life, which Dietrich Mateschitz is part founder of, along with Heinz Kinegardner, and it looks at spinal injuries and head injuries and the likes. And the concept was to sell spaces in the car to anyone, fans of the sport. Obviously the desire was to raise as much money for the charity as possible. What they've actually managed to do, which is fantastic, is have 15,000 faces in both cars, raise $1 million for the charity. And as you can see, it's the fan's car. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful photographs on there. I think I saw Lewis Hamilton on there, so he's pretty famous. Have you heard of him? No, he's up and coming. Still a lot of potential.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton here again. I'm going to take you through a lap of Silverstone, which was my third pole position. Quite an emotional one, especially in my home country. So here we go. So we come into the end of the out lap, and what's going through my mind, I have to get the engine switched down to maximum power and making sure you get a perfect exit from the last corner, because it all starts from there. And so shifting up, coming down the pit straight, coming across the line thinking, okay, this is it. It's the last lap that I've got. I really need to put a lap together. Coming into turn one, you always try to do it flat, but you always have to have a lift. And again, it's all about carrying the speed through and getting a good exit. So smooth into Beckett's, flat out through turn Beckett's. Then you have to lift and almost no brake at all, making sure you get a good exit down to Hangar Straight, where you wouldn't believe the speed we're doing down there. It's knowing that you've done a very good first sector, you want to keep on going. So we're braking into Stowe. Have a bit of an oversteer moment, but it didn't cost me any time. Still got a good exit because we've got good traction. Then braking down into turn 8, not taking too much curb, getting good exit and not having a lift through turn 9 and 10, where I made quite a bit of time up on my previous lap. Then we are coming up to Abbey, I believe, and braking, knowing it's a good lap. Try to avoid the curbs, not slide or oversteer, not overshoot the corner. Get a good exit through bridge, which is such a cool corner, and you're flat out through there, a lot of downforce. Try to carry as much speed through here and braking into the last sector. Now, you just try to maintain and keep what you have. You don't try to take any more. And I had a big oversteer moment here in the last corner, which is very, very slippery, but got a good exit again because we have new tyres, good traction. And coming across the line, just trying to, push the car a little bit further because, I knew it was the last minute. And when I came across the line and I was told that I got pole position, you can imagine the emotions that were running in me. Home country, wasn't looking too good at the beginning of the qualifying, and I pulled out a lap from nowhere, and I could almost hear the crowd cheering. So it was a great feeling for me, and although we finished third in the race, it was still a great weekend.
The sun is shining, but not on Felipe Massa. His engine dies on the grid and he's pushed into the pit lane from P4 to start the race. That should make McLaren's life a bit easier. All eyes are looking for a Hamilton home win. Raikkonen gets a good start from second. He's close, but not close enough. Hamilton leads Raikkonen, Alonso, Kubica, Kovalainen and Heidfeld. But Massa is storming his way back through the field and gets past Albers for 20th. Lap 2 and he disposes of Davidson. Button. And Barrichello. Lap 3 and Liuzzi loses 15th. Now Wirtz. Speed. Rosberg and Coulthard are embroiled in a battle for 11th. When they get into a tangle, Massa gains another place at Rosberg's expense. Teammate Webber has retired. Now Coulthard struggles to hold Massa back from taking 10th. Trulli is his 12th victim. There's no change at the front, but Kimi is keeping close tabs on Hamilton. With the top 3 so close, strategy will be crucial. It's the race leader who pits first. The stop needs to be perfect if Lewis is to have any chance of being the first British driver in 7 years to win at Silverstone. But he's made a mistake. Has the weight of expectation got the better of him? Ferrari are fit and ready for Raikkonen. If the team have got their maths right, it is going to be tight. Raikkonen is in. It's looking good. And Kimi easily puts one over on Hamilton. Alonso pits later, and it all looks incredibly calm, although it is a short stop. The familiar face of Joe Ramirez puts in an appearance with his former team and gets the chance to see Alonso take the lead from Kimi and Lewis. But the race is far from decided. Kimi knows Alonso's opted for a short middle stint and digs deep to keep right on his tail. Alonso has to create some space, but back markers are hindering him. And he wastes no time letting Scott Speed know how he feels. But Speed has left a window of opportunity for Wirtz. Alex takes it and leaves Scott out of the race. It's the second round of pit stops and Kubica's looking for another good result. But Kimi is aiming higher. Both McLarens have pitted. Now Kimi is in. Will the strategy have paid off? Staying out longer has done it for Kimi. He has a good lead over Alonso. McLaren's gamble has not paid off. The Ferrari was just too quick. Kimi Raikkonen wins the British Grand Prix with Alonso just 2 seconds behind. And with Massa's charge, it was a job well done for Ferrari with first and fifth. Kimi crushed Hamilton's hopes of a home win. Massa wins the most overtakes in a race award. The top 4 teams dominated the points. Things are looking up for Honda, but how did Kimi get the better of McLaren?
We had a good car all day, all weekend actually. In the beginning of race I just was trying to save some fuel and look after my tires and car, and then once Lewis pit in, I tried to push and gain some time on him, and that went well. And then Fernando did very short stop, so we knew that we're gonna run longer in the second stop. So we just tried to push us as hard as we can once he came in, and it was enough.
McLaren still lead, but Ferrari edge ever closer. Who will succeed at the Nürburgring, the circuit dominated by Michael Schumacher in recent years? Round 10 is the European Grand Prix, and after back-to-back wins in France and Britain, Kimi Raikkonen is going for win number 4 of 2007. With 5 minutes to go in Q3, Lewis Hamilton was on a flying lap.
Are you okay?
He went off at turn 8 thanks to a blowout that speared him violently into the tyre wall. He gave the thumbs up to his supporters and was taken to hospital for a precautionary CT scan. It was a heavy shunt, and the team would have to wait to see if he was given the all-clear to race on Sunday. The countdown to the race has begun, but there is rain on the horizon. Will anyone risk changing their setup with just seconds to go?
Marcus, box. Box this lap. Box directly, Marcus. Okay, Marcus, we're putting you on standard wet. So on standard wet tyre map. Standard wet tyre map.
Spiker can afford to take a risk. Everyone else stays cautious. Hamilton has work to do from 10th and disposes of 2 Toyotas, Webber and Kovalainen. He's up to 6th into turn 1 and gets in the mix with the BMWs, something he may well regret. Raikkonen leads Massa and Alonso as the first spots of rainfall, while the BMWs send themselves right back and leave Hamilton with a puncture. Rosberg is losing ground and the conditions are rapidly deteriorating. That's Sato passing him on his right, while Hamilton is dropping back thanks to that puncture. Sato got round Rosberg and Barrichello. Now the Hondas surround the Super Aguri and Button makes contact. Rosberg has a go at Barrichello, but they get a little bit too close for comfort. It's raining heavily now, while Rosberg and Sutil tangle. Race leader Raikkonen goes to pit. And slides out again. He'll have to complete another lap on dry tyres in the tricky conditions. Everyone else makes it in. There's so much action, and it's only the first lap. Massa changes to intermediates. So does Alonso. And he's keen to get away. The rain buys Heidfeld time to pit for repairs, but what about the leader?
Okay, Marcus, you're doing well. You're P1. Take it easy. Doing well. Keep going.
Easier said than done. Even the top guys are struggling as the conditions rapidly deteriorate. Jensen Button aquaplanes off the track. The rain is horrendous. Hamilton heads for the gravel.
Everybody is going off at turn 1. Massive caution at turn 1. Safety car will be coming out. Safety car will be coming out.
Rosberg is out. He's joined by Speed, but Hamilton has a plan.
Safety car now, safety car, Nick, safety car.
The safety car waits to pick up the field. But it's too late for the Toro Rosso of Liuzzi.
There's debris on the track on the way into turn 1, on the line.
Turn 1 is a swimming pool. Turn 1 is a swimming pool. Be really careful around there.
Hamilton has kept his engine running and gets a little outside help. Sato gets caught out, but manages to get going again. And so does Hamilton. His quick thinking ensures he lives to fight another day, albeit one lap down on the rest of the field. His team are overjoyed, but the weather is getting worse.
Okay, Marcus, we have a red flag. Stop at the red flag line on the start-finish straight. Stop at the red flag line on the start-finish straight, please, mate.
The race is suspended pending a safety car restart, leaving Marcus Winkelhock at the front. With the new rules, Hamilton will be allowed to unlap himself once the race has resumed.
After the restart, you've got 2 minutes behind him as well. So it could be raining as you come around the first lap. If we get it right, they're all going in again. If we get it wrong, we don't lose anything. We got it right last night.
The rain has passed as quickly as it arrived. Who would have expected that the one-off replacement for sacked Christian Albers would be leading the field? Hamilton was instructed to pass all the cars and reclaim a lap. Now McLaren try a masterstroke and bring him in early to change to dry tyres. The safety car is coming in and it's Marcus Winkelhock heading the charge. But not for long. The pack are swiftly hounding the F1 debutante. But McLaren's gamble hasn't paid off. The conditions are not yet right for the dry tyres. Hamilton finds his way back into the gravel and falls a lap behind once again. Ron tries to keep positive, but he drops even further back. Coulthard was unlucky in qualifying, but he's climbed up to third, until teammate Mark Webber seizes the initiative. Now Kovalainen and a recovering Kimi are at loggerheads. Alonso is second and pits for dry tyres. As does race leader Felipe Massa. Ralph is ninth and under attack from Heidfeld. That's Schumacher out of his home race. Brother Michael has watched Raikkonen climb back up to third. But it soon turns bad, and his rotten luck at the Nürburgring returns thanks to a hydraulic problem. The clouds are gathering again, more rain is predicted. Massa has just pitted, now Alonso is in for wet tyres. He's lucky to avoid the Renault of Fisichella. The pit stops bring the gap down to a second. Massa is battling with vibrations on this last set of tyres, and Alonso is all over him. Fernando knows it's just a matter of time. The rain is back, but it doesn't stop Alonso putting a move on Massa. After 60 laps of action, it's Alonso that makes it to the checkered flag first. With Massa second. But it doesn't stop there. Wirtz is hassling Mark Webber. Alex uses all of the track. But Webber keeps his head to take his first podium for Red Bull. Alonso can't contain his happiness with the win. But neither can he hide his dissatisfaction with Massa's driving style. It's a fantastic team result for Red Bull with third and fifth. Wirtz is thrilled with fourth, while Hamilton misses out on a podium for the first time this year. After more than 300 kilometres of racing in treacherous conditions, adrenaline is running high. It might be called the cool-down room, but relations between Alonso and Massa start to get quite heated, in spite of the television camera. It's not the first time they've come to blows, battling for first place. In Spain, Massa got the upper hand, but Europe was Fernando's opportunity to even the score. And perhaps this disagreement is an indicator of the passions that run deep, but which are often hidden behind crash helmet visors and closed garage doors.
To overtake, you need to go a little bit in the outside or the inside in the wet part. We touched each other 2 times, and you know, I apologize to him maybe because I was so stressed when I finished the race, because we nearly didn't finish the race, and you know, now I try to enjoy the victory and forget everything.
Well, we saw some pictures of you there, not looking too happy as you got out of the car. What are your thoughts on that manoeuvre from Fernando?
Well, I was really surprised when he came to say that I did by purpose. I mean, I never do something like that by purpose. Like I said, in Barcelona was normal, here was normal, and he's going to be like that. So if he was a little bit unhappy, it's not my problem.
Relations may be a little strained, but Alonso's win has blown the championship wide open, thanks to Hamilton's troublesome weekend. F1 arrived in Hungary surrounded by controversy. In mid-July, McLaren was asked by the FIA to answer a charge of being in possession of certain documents and confidential information belonging to Ferrari. it emerged that Ferrari's Nigel Stepney had passed confidential information regarding the F2007 to McLaren chief designer Mike Coughlin. On 26th July, there was an FIA hearing in Paris to investigate the allegations and allow both sides to present their case. McLaren maintained that no Ferrari information had been used at any stage to develop their car, and that the documents were only in the possession of Mike Coughlin, and that no other McLaren employee knew of this information before 3rd of July. The team was found guilty of possessing the documents, but not penalised for Mike Coughlin's actions.
The FIA has done a very thorough process. I think they've understood very well the situation. I'm not completely comfortable with the outcome, but the punishment fits the crime.
If McLaren thought the last month had been tough, Hungary would test the team's resolve to the absolute limit. McLaren had asked Hamilton to let Alonso through in the final part of qualifying. However, he failed to let Fernando past, despite requests from the team and the obvious anger of his teammate. Alonso pitted for fresh tyres. With just over 2 minutes remaining, the team held him in position for 20 seconds to avoid traffic, by which time Hamilton had queued behind. The lollipop was raised, and Fernando remained where he was for a further 10 seconds. With 1 minute 38 seconds left of the session, he exited the pits, and Hamilton took on fresh tyres. Would he make it round in time?
Not gonna make it.
Alonso scraped through for another flying lap. But Hamilton just missed out by less than 3.5 seconds. Ron was furious and went straight to speak with Alonso's physiotherapist, Fabrizio Borra.
We always stop, we wait for the countdown in the radio and we go. Sometimes it's 10 seconds, sometimes 45 seconds like the first stop of today, sometimes 10 or 15 like the second, but I think the calculation was wrong because my teammate didn't complete the lap and I crossed the line with 2 or 3 seconds, so it was really, really tight, and you know, these things unfortunately happened today to us.
The session had finished, but the matter was far from resolved. The team was required to speak to the FIA stewards on Saturday night.
Take this one here. Well, I'm going to take you to the down there. It's just hundreds of people. Okay, that way. We'll go this way. I walk. Yeah, 1 second. 1 second. It's better to go.
I go through the garage.
After much deliberation, Alonso was stripped of his pole position and relegated to 6th, and the team would score no constructors' points for this race. Ferrari had their own problems to deal with in qualifying. In Q2, Massa was informed he did not have enough fuel on board and had to be pushed back to the garage. When he did go back out, he was unable to improve his time on cold tyres and starts way back in 14th. But with hindsight, some drivers were able to keep things in perspective.
You know, how do you forget to put fuel in the car? No one said anything about that. Well, I don't know. Well, it didn't allow you to get out on the track.
Yeah, but it was not by purpose.
We got everything.
We was a misunderstanding from.
Pretty fundamental misunderstanding. I think it's a conspiracy to favour Kimi.
Alonso needs a good start from 6th if he's to have any hope of troubling the leaders on this twisty circuit. But Ralph pulls away, and even Kubica fancies his chances. Going into turn 1, and Fernando's down to 7th. Alonso isn't the only one with problems. Massa is struggling to overwhelm the Williams of Wirtz. But running wide leaves him open to attack from Sato, and he slides to 16th. His team is not impressed. Fernando can hardly keep his car on the track. He leaves the door wide open for Webber to steal 7th. It's not what is expected of the reigning world champion. After a shaky start, Alonso looks to be getting his act together and retakes Webber's 7th place. That's more like it. Now he's hot on Kubica's heels. Robert is able to cling on and makes Fernando work hard for the position. But there's bad news for Spiker. New signing Yamamoto's impact with the tyre wall is greater than his impact on the race. Teammate Adrian Sutil is in for his pit stop from 19th, and he will be looking forward to driving the team's B-Spec car in Italy. Hamilton is leading Raikkonen, with Heidfeld in the background. But Kimi is closing the gap. It's a difficult track on which to overtake, so Kimi hopes to pressurise Hamilton into making a mistake. Button doesn't have time to make an error.
Cool the brakes down a bit, we're going to retire you.
No need, stopped on the circuit. Slow down to let cars past. Had to almost stop, so I pulled the clutch in and stalled.
Fisikella's weekend was compromised by a 5-place grid penalty. Now he's debating 14th with Davidson. But a bit of wheel banging leaves Anthony in a spin and breaks his rear suspension. Alonso pits from 4th. It's a lacklustre performance from the champion. He's not made up much ground and he rejoins in 6th. He won't be troubling these two. Lewis Hamilton takes win number 3, with Kimi harassing him to the flag. BMW scored their most points in one race on a 3-stop strategy. Ralph gets his best result in 2007, Rosberg adds to his points tally, and Kovalainen has finished every race so far. It's the 50th victory for the McLaren and Mercedes partnership, and win number 3 for Lewis. Hamilton's win builds him a cushion at the top. Raikkonen and Massa should never be discounted, but Fisichella needs to up his game to beat his teammate. BMW and Renault have been consistent, but they are just too far behind. Super Aguri haven't scored since Canada, and of course, there's no constructors' points this time for McLaren. So what was Hamilton's view of what happened on Saturday?
They told me the night before, they said the team have taken the decision, if you're out in front in Q3, you have to let Fernando pass. And I asked why, and I didn't particularly get a good enough explanation. And I thought, okay, well...
What's the explanation?
They said that, I shouldn't really go into that, but anyways, I sort of got, well, and I asked the question again, and they sort of stumbled and not really gave me a solid answer. So, but it's team order, that's what the team want. I've got to obey the boss, in which I did, but you've got to stand by your beliefs. And I got to the first corner and the situation wasn't right, and I just went, I'm going for it, and I did. And even if he didn't get the extra lap, which he didn't, he was still on pole, and he wasn't happy about it. But
will divisions within the team shatter all chances of winning the title for McLaren? Massa makes a perfect getaway, but Hamilton is powerless to halt Kimi's assault. Alonso goes backwards while an out-of-control Fisichella causes chaos at the back. The incident leaves Trulli at the back of the field with it all to do. Massa leads Raikkonen, Hamilton, Kubica, Heidfeld and Alonso. Nick Heidfeld might be secure in the knowledge that he will remain with Kubica at BMW in 2008, but he is being hounded by Alonso, while the Ferraris are in a league of their own. Hamilton can barely keep up, but he's safe from attack. It's Alonso's 100th Grand Prix, and he's not letting Heidfeld out of his sight. Strategy will be crucial. BMW move first, Heidfeld is in. There are no problems, and he's back in the hunt. One lap later, and it's Alonso's turn. Where will he rejoin? Heidfeld is coming down the start-finish straight. But Alonso has done it and got the jump on him to take 6th. Now Fernando's race can really begin. The Ferraris are still leading and easing their way through back markers. Hamilton can do nothing about the front runners. He's pushing hard, but he's off at turn 9. A puncture ruins his afternoon, and he's lucky not to end up in the barrier. Now he has to crawl back to the pits and hope his car is not damaged. The destroyed tyre is removed and taken away for examination. Hamilton rejoins 5th, but for how long? Kovalainen ran a long first stint that helped him gain positions. Now he's 6th and closing on Hamilton.
Come on, we're faster than Hamilton. We're 2/10 a lap faster. We need a bit more, though.
Both started the year as rookies, and Hamilton has had the better season. Is this Heikki's chance for revenge? Raikkonen may have made his presence felt, but Felipe has been completely in control of the race. It's the second 1-2 of the season for Ferrari, with Massa reaching the top spot. Alonso gets his 45th podium. Kovalainen finished just 1 second behind Hamilton. Kubica couldn't match the pace of his teammate. Only 2 cars failed to finish. Massa has made Istanbul his own with 2 out of 3 victories in Turkey.
Here is when my career just make a switch and I start winning races and fighting with the front runners. And it's a very special place for me, and having the second win consecutive here is fantastic. I mean, it's difficult to find the right word.
But not such good memories for Hamilton. It's only his second time off the podium. So what caused the puncture?
Not only Lewis, but some more drivers suffered from chunking due to the high stress which went into the tyre, especially in turn 8. Actually higher than we expected this year. This chunking was due to the stress into the tire. So there was a very high stress in particular in that corner. There was more than 5G achieved with some cars, and that actually separated the rubber from the belt and then flew away. So that's the chunking. And then because it flew away, so you have all sort of holes and there's no protection to the belt anymore.
Four drivers, 12 rounds, 3 wins each, and there's 5 races remaining. Kimi Raikkonen hoped to do well for the first time on Tifosi home ground, but a heavy crash in Saturday morning practice was not what Ferrari wanted to see at their home Grand Prix. After such a huge impact, it's not surprising that Kimi suffered pain in his neck. The team was forced to fit the T-car with Kimi's original engine. Raikkonen did well to qualify 5th, so that left Fernando Alonso on pole position, with Felipe Massa heading the Ferrari charge 3rd. Kovalainen lines up 7th, leaving Lewis Hamilton to line up side by side with his teammate for the start. It's sure to be an exciting battle down to the first corner. Alonso starts from pole for the 3rd time this season, but he'll need to watch his mirrors. Massa surges ahead of Hamilton, but not for long. They touch, Lewis misses the corner, and contact is made further back. There's debris on the track. Ferrari hope it's not from Massa. It's Coulthard in trouble. He hit the back of Fisichella's car and broke his front wing. Now he spears straight into the gravel. The safety car comes out. Alonso leads Hamilton, Massa, Raikkonen, Heidfeld, Kubica and Kovalainen. But there's concern at Ferrari. Massa comes into the garage to retire, thanks to a problem with the rear suspension. Rosberg is battling Button. And he seizes 7th from the Honda. Raikkonen pits. The team has changed his strategy following his accident on Saturday. It's a long stop. He could be fueled to the end of the race. Hamilton is in for his 2nd stop. It's good, but he's lost 2nd to Raikkonen. The pit stops may have worked against him, but all may not be lost on track. He's stalking the Ferrari. The long straight could be his best chance. He has a look into turn one and gets the job done. Kimi didn't have the speed to keep Lewis back, leaving his team distraught. Race leader Alonso is in for his second stop. A quick tweak of the setup and he's back out again in first place. He's well on course for the victory. The team is delighted as Alonso takes a career first win in Monza. It was a job well done for McLaren. They arrived in Italy confident after the last test, and Alonso proved them right. And of course, the all-important 1-2 on Ferrari home territory is even better for the team, if a little emotional for Ron Dennis.
Pilota che nonostante la grande tensione, le grandi polemiche, la vicenda che ha riguardato, sta riguardando la sostina di
It's another good day for McLaren with their fourth 1-2. Heidfeld and Kubica maintain their consistency, Kovalainen and Rosberg score again, while Button makes it into the top 8. The Tifosi pour onto the track to watch the podium, but it's not their beloved Scuderia on the top step. A McLaren 1-2 on Ferrari home turf was exactly what Ron Dennis and the team needed after a difficult summer. But the emotional high soon plummeted to an emotional low. Following the receipt of new evidence relating to the Ferrari-McLaren spying scandal early in September, the World Motorsport Council convened for a hearing in Paris on the Thursday of the Belgian Grand Prix. Back in the paddock, speculation about the new evidence was rife, and it appeared to implicate key McLaren personnel through emails and text messages. McLaren test driver Pedro de la Rosa, Lewis Hamilton and Ron Dennis were amongst those there to answer the charges in person. Fernando Alonso had already provided his statement, but when he arrived in Belgium on Thursday, he remained tight-lipped on the matter.
Fernando, let's get it out of the way now. Any comment to make on what's happening in Paris today?
No.
And there was no word from the Ferrari camp either. Deliberations continued throughout the day, and eventually an agreement was reached. McLaren and Mercedes are stripped of all constructor points for the 2007 World Championship, and the team will score no points for the remainder of the season. The team's drivers were given immunity in return for providing evidence, and there is no penalty in regard to drivers' points. McLaren were also fined $100 million, less the FOM income lost as a result of the points deduction.
Much has been made in the press and at the hearing today of emails and text messages to and from our drivers. The World Motorsport Council received statements from Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton and Pedro de la Rosa, stating categorically that no Ferrari information had been used by McLaren and that they had not passed any confidential data to the team. The entire engineering team, in excess of 140 people, provided statements to the FIA affirming that they had never received or used the Ferrari information. We've got the best drivers and we have the best car, and we intend to win the World Championship.
After 1 year off, while improvements were made to the circuit, Spa is back on the calendar. And it's an all-Ferrari front row.
It's a proper circuit for Formula 1 cars, long corners, and it's very flowing. Excellent to drive, and I always liked here, and it seems to be good for me.
The green flag gives the go-ahead to race once again at Spa. The Ferraris make a clean break, leaving the McLarens to duel amongst themselves. Hamilton tries to go around the outside, but gets forced wide by his teammate. Lewis heads to Eau Rouge, but Alonso's in a feisty mood and seizes third. Fisichella started the race in the pit lane in the T car. Now he retires with a broken front left pushrod following an off-track excursion. Meanwhile, teammate Kovalainen is being chased by Webber. The Red Bull gets a good run out of Eau Rouge, side by side. And eventually Webber does it to take sixth. Heidfeld lost 2 places at the start. Now he is giving Heikki concern. The Renault is one stopping, so Heidfeld needs to get past. And so he does. He's up to 7th. Trulli's in the hunt for Coulthard's 11th place, but going straight on at La Source does him no favours. Sutil even fancies his chances. Jarno holds him off, but the Spiker will be back for more. Now Adrian has another go. And he does it. Coulthard is his next target, even if Red Bull haven't realised.
Don't let the car behind you bother you. Don't let the car behind bother you.
But they're racing for position. Kovalainen is now under attack from Kubica. Just like his teammate, Robert has to get past the one-stopping Renault. Kubica gets his chance in the remodelled bus stop chicane and seizes 8th to the delight of his team. The Ferraris are pulling away at the front, with Kimi leading the charge. Trulli is right down the order in 17th and being chased by the Spiker of Sutil once again. Adrian passed him earlier on, but a small mistake eases the pressure on Jarno. But it still looks promising for the team. Third-placed Alonso has pulled away from his teammate, who lies 4th. Race leader Raikkonen pits for the second time, and rejoins in between the McLarens. But they do have to stop again. The stops leave Kubica 9th, behind Kovalainen once again, but this time he's finding it much more difficult to overtake. Italy was a disappointment for Ferrari, but Kimi has got them back on track in Belgium. He takes his 3rd victory in Spa. Massa rounds off the celebrations with the 3rd 1-2 of the season for Ferrari. It's his favourite track on the calendar, and it's not hard to see why. Rosberg finished ahead of Webber. Kovalainen held off Kubica till the flag to maintain his points-winning streak, and it was a sterling effort for Sutil for 14th. Alonso has scored at every race and now is only 2 points behind Hamilton. Raikkonen's just about holding on, and Kovalainen is leaving Fisichella behind. McLaren's expulsion means that Ferrari have won the Constructors, BMW have exceeded expectation, while Renault will now concentrate on 2008. Nothing is guaranteed in 2007. It's one of the closest fought championships of recent times, and there's plenty more action to come. One of the most stunning locations in the world sets the scene for round 15, the Japanese Grand Prix. After 30 years, Formula One returns to the Fuji Speedway.
Hi, I am Jarno Trulli and I'm a driver for the Panasonic Toyota Racing Team, and I will take you through the lap at the Fuji circuit. So here we are going into the main straight at the Fuji circuit. It's a very long straight, and it's very quick. We reach something like 320 or 330 at the bottom of the straight. And then we approach the first corner in 7th gear, and then we shift down in 2nd for a hairpin, right-hand corner, going down and then accelerating out 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. And then we approach the left-hand quick corner, which is in 4th gear, at the exit in 5th. We accelerate out, and then for a long right-hand corner with different radius, 6 nearly flat. Approaching for a left-hand corner, which is a hairpin, slow speed, accelerating out, traction problem, and then again on a back straight, up to 7th gear, and then braking very hard for a right-hand hairpin, 1st gear here, then 2nd at the exit, left-hand corner, accelerating out, 3rd going uphill, and then another right-hand corner, 2nd gear, then 3rd, and 2nd again, going always uphill in this section. Another left-hand corner, accelerating out 3rd and 4th, and then braking down, shifting down in 2nd for the last corner, which will take us again on the main straight. Well, it was nice to be at Fuji. It's got some history behind, and it's an enjoyable circuit. Not very technical, but anyway, it's got some very challenging corners.
Mount Fuji might overlook the circuit, but you wouldn't know on Saturday morning. The weather took a turn for the worse and the practice session was cancelled. Things improved slightly as the day went on and qualifying got underway, but visibility was a real problem, as Hamilton found out. Despite a scare from Raikkonen, Lewis slammed his car on pole. For the 5th time this year, Hamilton will start at the front of the grid. And he looks pretty pleased with himself. Race day dawns, but there has been no let-up in the rain and mist over Fuji. Without a doubt, the race must begin behind the safety car. Torrential rain has been falling since Saturday. Standing water is a real problem and visibility is poor. Despite the FIA insisting on extreme wet tyres, the Ferraris started on normal wets, and it shows. Massa retakes Heidfeld and gets a drive-through penalty. Raikkonen is on extreme wet tyres now, but he is still struggling in the conditions and falls back down to last place. He's not the only one with problems. Mark Webber has food poisoning and goes beyond the call of duty.
Going to retirement. Coming in, vomiting, going in, vomiting, I can't drive. Understood. Box. I'll try and stay up, mate. I am eating in the car, but honestly, I'll go.
Lap 20 and the safety car will come in. The drivers try to get heat into their tyres for the restart. Hamilton leads Alonso, Heidfeld, Button, Webber and Vettel. Alonso passes Hamilton when Lewis suddenly slows. Fernando has to back off. Now the racing starts down the longest straight in Formula One at 1.5 kilometres. Vettel is sixth. He can barely see Button and Heidfeld collide ahead. He avoids the trouble and keeps going. Wirtz is tagged by Sato behind and powerless to avoid Massa's Ferrari. Wirtz is out, Felipe continues and Sato pits for repairs. It's not a happy home race for Super Aguri. The team swiftly replace the nose cone, but fuel leaks out and catches fire. But it doesn't seem to hinder Sato. Raikkonen is storming after the tyre blunder. He eases past Ralph for 11th. Alonso has just pitted. With fresh tyres, the conditions are even trickier. He rejoins, but there's no hope of leapfrogging Hamilton now. Lewis stops one lap later. But crucially, he rejoins third, ahead of the two Renaults, Kubica and Coulthard. And, more importantly, Alonso. The champion appears to be struggling, and Heidfeld is turning up the heat. Nick seizes 7th, while Fernando struggles off the drying line. Kubica is chasing Hamilton. Robert goes for the inside, and when Lewis moves across, they make contact and spin. Both survive, but Kovalainen has got ahead. Kubica relegates Hamilton to 4th. But Robert will get a drive-through penalty for their collision. Vettel is closing on 8th placed Alonso. They also come to blows. No one is immune to the conditions. Alonso tries to find a drying line, but there isn't one yet. The smallest error could have dramatic consequences. even world champions can be caught out. The track is covered in debris. Bent Mailander has done a lot of laps in the safety car today, nearly as many as Fernando. Anthony Hamilton hopes his son can stay out of trouble and keep his car on the track. It's been a sterling effort from Webber to climb to second. He needs to keep his eye on the safety car. And Hamilton moving around the track ahead of him. Hamilton slows again. Third-placed Vettel struggles to see. And when he does, it's far too late.
Can hit me behind the safety car, I'm out. Crashed into Mark. I don't know what happened. I was looking Lewis, he stopped, and then as soon as I looked back to the front, I crashed.
The racing resumes. Hamilton leads Kovalainen, Massa and Coulthard. But Felipe wants a bit of the action after his difficult start. Vettel is gutted with the outcome.
Raikkonen behind is your position. Raikkonen behind.
Coulthard is being caught by Raikkonen. Kimi just glides round to take fourth. Massa has fought his way back, but now he needs to make a splash and dash to get to the end of the race. Elevating teammate Raikkonen to third. Kimi is all over Kovalainen. The Ferrari looks to have it. But the one-stopping Heikki will not give up. Just as the 2-hour time limit expires, it's Hamilton who weathers the storm and wins the race. Renault rookie Kovalainen showed his potential to hold off Raikkonen and take his first ever F1 podium. But the race isn't over for Massa and Kubica just yet. Using every bit of track and some. That's got him. But no, he's back for more. Massa just keeps Kubica at bay to finish sixth. But the team had hoped for more, and Kimi is now 17 points behind Hamilton. Hamilton increases his lead at the top. Fisichella was fifth. Toro Rosso get their first point of the season and then have it taken away again because Liuzzi overtook under waved yellow flags, giving Spiker their first point. Starting 11th, Renault took a risk with a one-stop strategy, but it all fell into place for Heikki Kovalainen.
Safety cars, etc., they help us a little bit, but at the end, the pace was good and we managed to keep Ferrari behind us, so it's a good result.
Undeterred by the conditions, he kept his compatriot Raikkonen at bay.
He's always a man of many words. What did he say to you after the race?
No, not much. He said, "Well done. What a race." And he does work. He does speak. He's a very nice guy.
Completing the full 67 laps was some achievement today. But what about taking the first step of the podium?
All these years I've watched Senna and the old greats, and you just hope that one day you can do that similar sort of race in the wet. And when you come across the line, win your first wet Grand Prix on a track that you've never been to before, it's really, really pleasing. And I'm just happy we got it. Still got 2 races to go, but we're in a much better position. I know what I need to do now.
The aim is clear, but can anyone stop Lewis taking the title in China? Events in Japan were big news when Formula One moved to China. Hamilton's driving behind the safety car was particularly high on the agenda. He was accused by some of causing the Vettel and Webber crash as a result of his heavy braking. Following an investigation, he was cleared of any wrongdoing, and Sebastian Vettel's 10-place grid penalty was reduced to a reprimand. Teammate Alonso was also making headlines after he accused the team of hindering his qualifying effort by questioning the tyre pressures in Q3 compared to those for the rest of qualifying. With less than a minute remaining, the top guys needed to put in a final flyer. Hamilton went first. He gave himself the best chance for the title with pole ahead of Raikkonen, Massa and Alonso. It's seconds to the race start. Actor Keanu Reeves is a man who knows about intrigue and action. The lights are on, but the predicted rain shower has arrived. Hamilton keeps P1, Massa slots in behind Raikkonen. But Alonso's looking lively. Hamilton leads Raikkonen, Alonso takes Massa, but Ralph has spun from 6th to last. Fernando is not willing to give up his crown, and he's hot on the heels of Kimi. He has to get ahead. He's struggling on the slippery track. Now he's lost the position to Massa. Mark Webber has recovered from food poisoning. Now it's Kubica giving him the aggravation. It's not easy to see in the spray. But Kubica holds on to take 8th. Kovalainen won't repeat his Japanese podium. Vettel is chasing him down the long straight for 10th. And the Toro Rosso has done it. Hamilton is pulling away at the front. Kimi is 2nd, Massa 3rd, Alonso 4th, while Coulthard is 5th and Heidfeld 6th. McLaren are the first of the top runners to prepare for a pit stop. It's race leader Hamilton, but he doesn't change his tyres. He keeps his worn wets in anticipation of another shower. Ferrari hold off, and 4 laps later, Kimi is in. He too keeps the same tyres. Will he have made any progress into Hamilton's lead? He's behind Lewis, but he's well and truly on the prowl. Raikkonen is flying, while Ralph's terrible day gets worse. Although it doesn't have the same impact as Sutil. Hamilton is having a tough time from Kimi. It's still raining and they need to keep the wets. It's a valiant effort. The team hope he can ride out the brief shower. Kovalainen is up there with his teammate, but on dry tyres with the rain shower, they really have their work cut out. The Renaults surround the Williams of Rosberg. Fissy gets the position, while Heikki and Nico both take a different route. McLaren watch with bated breath. Kimi is right with Lewis. And when the opportunity arises, he takes it. The Ferrari immediately pulls away from the McLaren. Hamilton is lapping truly. But he's all over the place. The rain has passed and the track is drying out. Worn wet tyres are not what he needs. He must pit to stay in this race. McLaren prepare for the championship leader, who's being caught by his teammate. Finally, Hamilton is in. But he's lost it. He slides into the gravel. He can't quite get the car out and he needs help. Fast. The team is powerless. The marshals do what they can to get him into the pit lane. It's agonizing. But now it's over. He retires for the first time this year when the championship was there for the taking. Kubica was yet to make a second stop and leading the race until a hydraulic leak ends his day. And he's not happy. Hamilton tries to put a brave face on a huge setback. Kimi has driven a perfect race to take Ferrari's 200th win and his 5th of the season. He needed this race victory, and he got it. But the biggest cheer goes to Vettel. After the disappointment of Japan, he finishes an excellent 4th.
Thank you. Well done, mate. P4, slow in lap, call the brake. Do you know how this feels? This feels fantastic. Thank you very much. Yes!
And with Liuzzi 6th, it's the team's best finish to date. The result throws Kimi and Fernando right back into contention for the championship. A one-stop strategy paid off for Vettel. Button is an excellent 5th, and it's the first time since Hungary that Renault failed to score any points. Everyone was expecting Hamilton to take the title, but the surprise showers in Shanghai means it will be a three-way championship decider in Brazil. Brazil hosts the final round of the championship, and as always there's a party atmosphere in the air. But it's not all about sun and samba. There's a title to be won, and there are 3 men in the running.
You're always a little bit nervous in every race, but I cannot really. I try to do the same than any other race. Try to do the best that I can.
Definitely, it's a lucky circuit for me because the 2 championships that I won were here. So, you know, it's impossible to say that this is not a circuit that I lack.
I feel totally relaxed now, and I'm fully confident in the team and our ability to challenge for the title.
After 16 races, 994 laps, the title is decided here. Will it be Fernando, Lewis, or Kimi? For the final time in 2007, 10 drivers battled it out for pole position. After a turbulent year for McLaren, the FIA appointed a steward to ensure equality for their title rivals. Kimi Räikkönen was on his last lap, but was caught off guard by Hamilton and lost precious time. The crowd went wild for their local hero, who will start from the front of the grid. Lewis Hamilton has topped the championship table since Spain back in May. For most, he's the title favourite on 107 points. Fernando Alonso has won both his titles at the final round in Brazil. With 103 points, he needs to end the season on a high. Kimi Räikkönen has been widely regarded as the outside hope on 100 points, but he has quietly put himself back into contention. 3 drivers and only 1 title up for grabs. Hamilton slots in behind Massa, but Kimi's fast out of the blocks and gets a look at Felipe. Lewis comes close, but that's Alonso on his left. He's down to 4th, but still leading the championship. He's desperate to get the position back. But all he's done is put Alonso on course for the title. Ferrari can't believe it. It was a midfield bottleneck into turn 1, and an unfortunate chain of events involving Fissi, Liuzzi and Ralph left Kovalainen with a puncture. Massa leads Räikkönen, Alonso, Webber and the BMWs of Kubica and Heidfeld, while Hamilton is making a comeback. An off from Fisichella leaves him right in Yamamoto's path, and it's game over. Hamilton displaces the BMW of Heidfeld for 6th. The McLaren garage remains positive. It's looking good at the moment. But no, he's slowing. Impossible. That's 4 places lost already. How can this be happening? It's the worst possible time for a gearbox issue. Somehow the system resets itself and he manages to get going again. But he's way back. The Ferraris have really got the measure of McLaren when it matters most. And despite their lead, Alonso will win the championship unless Kimi can find a way past Massa. Hamilton has nothing to lose and takes 17th from Barrichello. And the spiker of Sutil is next. Wirtz's replacement Kazuki Nakajima passes Sato on his F1 debut. It might be Ralph's swan song for Toyota. But that doesn't stop Hamilton. There goes Davidson. Webber's demise elevates Lewis once again. Hamilton passes Sato for 12th. But there's a long way to go yet. That's Nakajima out of the way. Button helps Hamilton's cause. The Ferrari still lead. Now Lewis is in. He rejoins with it all to do, as Ferrari well know. He's got ground to make up. First off, it's 12th from Barrichello. But Nakajima's first F1 pit stop is a complete disaster and leaves some of his mechanics in hospital. Hamilton sails past the Toro Rosso of Vettel for 9th. But a car failure gives Kovalainen his first non-finish of the year and Renault their first double retirement. It's quite a turnaround from their back-to-back constructors' titles. Some ragged driving from Massa doesn't appear to concern his team. Kimi will need to win this race. Otherwise, this man gets a third consecutive title. Rob Smedley's keeping an eye on where Massa will rejoin after his second pit stop. He's come out in traffic. Have Ferrari made a mistake, or is it part of their plan? After 3 more laps, Ferrari bring Raikkonen in. The mechanics look confident. And with good reason. Kimi takes the lead of the race, and more crucially, he's on course for the championship. But this battle for 4th really could change that. Heidfeld is under pressure from Rosberg and Kubica isn't far behind. When Nico makes his move, they both run wide, handing the advantage to Robert. The atmosphere is so tense. Hamilton makes his third and final stop. Is it all over? When Trulli pits, he elevates Hamilton to 7th. And leaves everyone guessing about the championship. It's a waiting game for Ferrari. Kubica and Rosberg's battle ensures the title fight continues to the bitter end. Finally, in a fantastic climax to a stunning season, Kimi Raikkonen wins at Interlagos and becomes the 2007 Formula One World Champion.
Okay, it's all over. It's all over. Hamilton 7th. Hamilton 7th. By my calculations, we win the championship by 1 point.
McLaren can't hide their disappointment. But Lewis has been a major force in F1 this year, and he will come back even stronger in 2008. No one would have predicted he could have achieved so much as a rookie in Formula One. Raikkonen came so close in 2003 and 2005, and he does it in 2007. Kimi seized the closest championship for 21 years by just 1 point. Williams and BMW Sauber are cleared of fuel irregularities. Hamilton was 7th and a lap down, and Kovalainen just missed out on a rookie reliability record. People questioned his ability to step into Michael Schumacher's shoes, and he proved his doubters wrong in the best possible fashion. But it wasn't quite the result everyone wanted. 2 more places would have secured the title for Hamilton.
And here they are, Kimi Raikkonen.
After one of the greatest comebacks, Raikkonen starts the celebration early. And why not? Ferrari take both the drivers and the constructors' titles with 9 wins. 4 of them 1-2 finishes, 9 pole positions and 12 fastest laps. He's the 3rd Finn to become a Formula One World Champion, and there will be some partying in Sao Paulo tonight.
was the main thing to get past Hamilton, and then I saw on the mirrors in I think so corner 4 that he went off, and I knew that maybe we have some chance now, and it was a perfect teamwork from the team, and it paid off very well. He's not only been in this race but the whole year, so thanks for everybody.
Yeah, I have to say a big congratulations to him, because he's been a phenomenal force all year, and I've always admired him. I think he's a great driver, and I think he's actually a really good guy, so really proud of what he's achieved. It's been an incredible year, and I'm still quite happy. If you think about it, I've come from GP2. Who would have thought I'd be ranked number 2 in my first year of Formula 1? For sure, we led the World Championship all the way to the last race, and we had a tough 3 weeks, and there was nothing we could do. We did the best job we could. The team did a phenomenal job all year. The car was great, and I honestly still believe that we have the quickest car. And I think we've learned so much from this year. We'll go into next season with our heads high, and I know I will do even a better job next year and come back even stronger.
It has been a tremendous race today with everything in the first 3 or 4 laps, with Lewis backing off P18. And from that point, my race was just concentrating to avoid the 1 and 2 from Ferrari. It was not possible. They had a very good pace, so a little bit sad now because I lost the championship, but nothing we can do.
A solitary point determined the championship. Hamilton and Alonso tie, but Lewis scored more second places. BMW Sauber ended the season on a high, and rookie Kovalainen got the better of his more experienced teammate. It was a strong end to the season for Rosberg. Coulthard and Webber weren't where they wanted to be, while Vettel impressed after competing in only 8 races. Sato exceeded expectations. Liuzzi leaves Toro Rosso disappointed. Yamamoto replaced Christian Albers, but he couldn't score any points either. Ferrari win with more than double the points of BMW Sauber. It's disappointing for Renault, while Williams stay ahead of Red Bull. Super Aguri beat Spiker on merit, and McLaren do not score following the FIA ruling in September. Many people wondered how the Iceman would fit in with the fiery passion of Ferrari, but it's a combination that clearly works. He's found his place within the Ferrari family. But what about back home in Finland?
It means probably right now more for them than for me, but no, they always believe that for me, and always been doing everything and working hard for difficult times to help me, and it's great for them, they're sitting there and probably crying right now, but I'm happy for them, and for sure they're happy for me.
The atmosphere in the garage says it all. Kimi made it at last.